Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Saint Pius defends. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. We continue our lesson on Christian perfection. We are all called for this Christian perfection. But today we want to speak for a specific state that is really now the religious life, religious state. On this picture you can see a young woman and also a young man who are making their offering to Jesus crucified. Actually, the religious life is a consecration, it's true, and it's a consecration for suffering, you know. We want to follow Christ, and we want to follow Christ on the cross. And it's a crucifixion of the flesh, crucifixion of the body, and we do this crucifixion through this triple sacrifice of the vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. These three vows are a way to crucify our flesh, to renounce the world, to renounce our flesh, through these three vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. This is why, you can see in the picture, the oblation is made to Jesus crucified. Now, what is the religious state? The religious state is a permanent way of community life by which the faithful bind themselves to observe the evangelical counsels by vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. First of all, we can see that is community life. We belong to a family, and we need a family. Everybody has a family. We need a family. We need to live together because the Christian perfection is the practice of the charity. And charity is practiced first towards the neighbor, towards the member of the family. After yes, it's true that some monks, when they have succeeded to live this perfection in the community, they can go now for this life completely alone, where now they want to love God alone. But for that, they must have succeeded to live perfectly the community life first. The first religious order developed under Saint Anthony the Great, who assembled around him in the desert a number of disciples themselves. In the year 348, and after we have Saint Pachomius gathered the anchorites under a common roof and gave them a fixed role. This was done on an island near the mouth of Nile River in Egypt. From there, the monastic life spread to Palestine and Syria, and thence to Asia Minor. And in the 5th and 6th centuries, the monastic life was propagated in the West by Saint Martin of Tours and Saint Benedict. It has started in the 4th century, but actually, if you remember, the persecutions made by the Roman Empire were also going up to the 4th century. It was when the church became free to to live openly, that they could organize actually community life like that. Before that, we could not have organized community life. We had some virgins since a big home with their family, but as virgins, consecrated. And we had priests who were under the control of the local bishop. But the religious life developed after the end of the persecution. The religious state is called the state of perfection because those who embrace it have the obligation, through faithfulness to their vows, of aiming at evangelical perfection. We speak about a state of perfection. We don't say that every monk or sister is saint and holy. No, we are not saint and holy, but the ones who are in a state of perfection, they belong to a kind of order where everything is established for perfection. After, maybe we are not saints, but the organization, the life of a convent, the life of the community, the vows, the promise, the role, all that is a perfect organization for holiness. If you want, it's a convent, a monastery, is a part of heaven, if you want. Everything is organized there only according to God, to the love of God and the service of God. And this is why objectively it's a state of perfection. After, subjectively, each one of these sisters or monks maybe can be good or bad, you know. As every one of us, we can be good or bad. It's not to enter in convent that will make you a saint automatically. But everything, objectively speaking, is saint and holy. This is what says the Catechism. Not everybody is necessarily perfect, but they are expected to aim at perfection. Many people in the world are actually more holy than some in the religious state. You know, when we speak about a state, we speak about an objective order. We don't speak about the subjective holiness of people. But some people in the world are very, very saint and holy people, holy mother of family, holy father of family, or holy diocesan priests, because diocesan priests are not religious members. They are not religious. They can be more holy than a Carmelite. Why not? That is, God will judge the heart of everyone. Of course, we have so many names of saints, lay people, and that's God is the one judging the heart. But what we can say, you know, the Catholic Church usually this is something we have to get properly, you know. The Catholic Church, when she speaks about what is objective. This is good, this is bad, this is holy, this is not holy, this is true or false. When the Catholic Church is teaching or speaking, it's always objectively speaking. We are not here to judge the heart of someone. We say this action is a bad action. After, we are not here to say if this person knew what she was doing or not. Okay? This is God who is going to judge the heart of someone. This is God who is going to judge the level of holiness of everyone. And the Catholic Church has nothing to do or nothing to say about the subjective part. There is, in Latin it is said, de internis ecclesia non judicat. It means the church is not judging about inner things, because only God can see what is in the heart of someone. This is why the work of the Catholic Church is to speak objectively, to say this is good, this is bad, this is true, this is false. After, everybody will see with God if he knew or not, if he was aware or not. Okay? But for us, we are just teaching what is objective. And the religious state is an objective state, where you live in a convent with a rule approved by the Catholic Church. And this is a state of perfection because you have everything needed to reach perfection and you are expected to do it. The call to the religious life is only an invitation. It's an invitation from God through the Catholic Church. Not everybody is called, and not everybody can say, I am called. Now, if you want to join a community, to join a congregation, it's like a marriage. You have to want to give your life to this congregation, and this congregation has to want you, has to be willing to receive you as a member. And you cannot force the congregation to receive you. If they don't want you, they don't want you. It's like a marriage. You cannot force them to love you and to marry you. That is not possible. And it's the same for the vocation. Even for priesthood, no one can say, I want to be a priest, ordain me a priest. No. You propose yourself, you say, okay, I have the desire, I wish, and now we have to receive the acceptation from the congregation. And actually what we call the formal vocation, the formal call, is when we are called to join. Actually, for a priest, we say that we receive the vocation the day the bishop calls us to the subdiaconate. That is now in the 5th year of the seminary, after our 6th year of the seminary, it depends. After 6 years of preparation, now we know if we have the vocation or not. If we are called, yes, you go and become a subdeacon. Because subdeacon is for life. It's a perpetual vow of chastity, and you cannot go back after that. And now when the bishop calls you for that, you know that you have the vocation. Before, he can tell you, I think you should go home, you know. you are not for this kind of life. And now you just have to go home. You just have to go home. And you cannot pretend, I have the vocation, I want to be a priest. No. It's not like that, you know. It's a marriage between you and the Catholic Church. If the Catholic Church doesn't want you, you cannot force the bishop to accept you. Of course, some candidates, they go from bishop to bishops, and at the end they will find one. Huh? But maybe the one who have refused had good reason. We know some candidates like that. They have been refused here, there, and at the end they find a congregation to receive them. But usually it's not ending well. Okay. Not everybody is called, only specific people. And not everybody can say, I want to. No. Even in the Gospel it is written, not all can accept this teaching of a perpetual chastity, but those to whom it has been given. Members of religious orders or congregations are bound by the vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. They are devoted to the exclusive service of God without distractions. It's really to leave the world, to leave the world. And actually, for us, priests of the Society of St. Pius X, we are not religious. We don't do the vows of religion. We are not religious. We are a society of common life, like the White Father, like some other societies in the Catholic Church, but we are not religious. Brother Remy is religious. He has made the vows of religion. For us, we only do the vow of chastity with the subdiaconate as a priest, but we are not religious. You have a variety of possibilities in the Catholic Church. For us, we are not religious. We don't belong to this category of the religious state. But still, because of priesthood, we are also called for holiness at a very special level, of course. The goal of religious life is to leave the world, to devote, to consecrate completely, totally to God. And we leave everything belongs to the world through the three vows. Poverty, you leave every kind of material things, land, house, everything. Through the vow of chastity, you leave your family, and you renounce this capacity to have your own family. And through the vow of obedience, you renounce your own will. You renounce to act by your own, but you want to obey and depend, in order that you depend only from God. This is why when someone enters the monastery, no, you should not you are leaving the world, you know. For me, it's a real crime to have a TV in a convent, or even a TV in the house of the priest. It's a crime, because you are leaving the world, and now you bring the world back, okay, through this screen. Even a Catholic home should not have a TV at all, let me tell you, because you bring the spirit of the world in your own home, and your home is consecrated to God. And okay, but mainly for the priests, for the sisters, for the monks, we should not find a TV. We should not find the spirit of the world in the house of God, isn't it? Even in the statutes of our society, it is specified we will have no TV in the house of the society, because the TV we have is the tabernacle, where we are connected directly to Christ, and through Christ to everything else. Okay. This is what is written in the statutes of our society. We leave the world. And it's good if the lay people imitate that, can organize not to have a TV at home, and you will see it will become really better. Who may be admitted into the religious state? Any Catholic who is free from impediments, who has a right intention, and who is fitted to fulfill the duties of the religious life, may be admitted into the religious state. Now, what are these impediments? We say any Catholic, of course we need to be Catholic to be baptized, but free from impediments. You remember we spoke about impediments for marriage. we have also some impediments for religious life. The first impediment is an existing marriage. If you are married with someone, you cannot join religious life. You have other duties to fulfill. If you are less than 15 years old, you cannot join religious life. You have to wait for your 15th. If you have some debt that you are bound to pay, and now you are not free to enter because you have to pay your debts. If your parents really need your support and they have a reasonable expectation that you will support them in their necessities, and now out of charity and even justice, you can delay to enter in religion because you have to help your parents. Of course, the mere opposition of parents who do not need one to support them is not an obstacle. Many saints had to meet parental objections firmly before they could join religious order. And many parents actually, they oppose the vocation. It's sad, and even it's not reasonable, because for the parents, the child, they keep the closest relation is usually the one in religious life, you know. Maybe if your child wants to marry, you say nothing, you know, and you are very happy. And your child wants to become a priest or a sister, and you oppose that because you don't want to lose your child. It's not reasonable. And I can tell you it's even the contrary. The child who is the closest from the parents is usually the child who is in religion life. Because his only family on earth is his mother and his father, you know. He has no other family on earth, you know. He has a spiritual family, his congregation. But when your child is married with someone, his new family is not you. He has to leave you, actually, to make his own family. The opposition of parents without good reason is not enough. If one has a firm desire and resolution to enter religiosity out of a good motive to serve God better, he has the right intention for the religious state. Yes, that is a problem of right intention. It can be the case in some very poor countries. Some people, they have the vocation to be fed for life and for free. And they are not looking really for the glory of God, but to have a good social position they could never get in their village. Say, oh, let me become a priest, because the only people who have a car are the priest here. I want a car. And who has a car? A priest. Let me become a priest, but I can get a car also. That is a very wrong intention. Or we have many people willing to go to Europe, you know, or to US. And they say, hey, let me join this congregation and I will go abroad. And that is a wrong intention. And in some countries, actually we had many problems in Nigeria. Many seminarians in Nigeria, they disappear when they reach Australia, you know. They go there, after they disappear. And they can be angels during 2-3 years, waiting for the moment to leave and fly abroad. And after, they disappear. This is not, of course, a good intention. But Some also, even in France, it's a few centuries ago, the church was very, very powerful, very rich actually. And some people, they wanted just to go in the church to get a lot of money or good positions. I will become a bishop. I have a good family, I have connections. I will find a way to become a bishop and to rule. And it was very wrong, very, very wrong intention. The only intention to join religious life is to serve God better, to suffer for God, to follow Christ, to save souls, to save our own souls. It's a very right intention for someone who says, okay, Father, for me I am a great sinner, and I know if I stay in the world, I will become a thief, I will become a very bad man. My only way to go to heaven is to enter a monastery, because there I will be protected against temptation. But I have so great temptations, Father, that if I stay in the world, I will be a very bad person. This is a very good motive of vocation. Very good. To religious life. Not to priesthood, but to religious life. Among the things needed to fulfill the duties of a religious life are virtue, sufficient health, and adequate education for the work of the particular congregation to be joined. In general, the qualifications for a vocation are goodwill, good health, and good sense. Yes. Of course, it depends what you want to do. If you have scored D- in a KCAC and you want to be a priest, you cannot. Okay? Of course. Because priesthood is studies at the level of university, If you cannot join university, you cannot join priesthood. You have some condition also about virtue. Someone who is unable to keep his vows of chastity is unable to promise to keep chastity, If someone has very bad habits against the virtue of chastity, he cannot enter in religion because he cannot promise to do what he is unable to do. You need to be able to respect your vows, of course. But in general, goodwill, good health, and good sense. The religious life is a life in community, and the community has to be able to live with the members. If someone is crazy, has a mental problem, we cannot accept in a religious community because it's not possible to live like that. Unless you have special congregations who are specialized to receive such people, but that is a specific congregation. What steps should be taken in embracing the religious state? Before any definite decision is made, a competent spiritual director should be consulted. The zealous director of souls will give counsel regarding both spiritual and practical matters. One needs to be strongly attracted to the religious state before deciding to embrace it. And feelings have no matter with that, It's not a matter of feeling. You need excellent reasons to enter in religious life, not a lot of feelings. Feelings are not stable. Feelings are not permanent. We don't rely on feelings. We rely on faith and reason. What is most needed is will. Do you want to give your life? Do you want to obey? Do you want to leave the world? Feelings pass, but day after day, one needs a strong will to remain faithful to the vows taken in a religious congregation. It's the same for marriage. Feelings are not enough. You need very good reasons to marry someone. Excellent reasons. Not a lot of feelings. One should apply for admission into the religious community chosen. If one is refused and has to return home, he should not feel disgraced. The novitiate is precisely a trial to find out one's qualifications. Sometimes, even if one is refused in a certain community, maybe he can find another community that is fitting for him. Several great saints were at first refused or even sent out by the congregations they had at first chosen. Those who are sent out should recognize the trial as permitted. You know, we have so many different congregations in the Catholic Church because we have so many characters of people. And we are so different. This is why we need to have a variety of congregations, because we have different gifts and different ways. It's good to know yourself, to choose a congregation according to your nature, your desires, the goal of God. And after, usually you find, but sometimes you have to look for 1, 2, or 3 congregations. One accepted and permitted to take the vows, all one has to do is to persevere, to live according to the vows, and try day by day to attain to the highest perfection. How should parents behave if their child chooses a religious vocation? Parents should give special praise and thanksgiving to God for the blessing if their child chooses a religious vocation. Now the Catechism is even giving a story of Mrs. Colonel Vaughan, an English mother, prayed every day that all her children might become priests and nuns. In time, of her 8 sons, one became a cardinal, a second an archbishop, another a bishop, and 3 priests. All of her 5 daughters became sisters. Okay, this is an example. But just remember, the vocation is given to the children, not to the mother. Okay? The mother cannot have the vocation for the children. And the parents should not force vocation. This mother was just praying, not forcing the vocation of the children. That is not right. But she was praying for that, and she was heard by God. Even the family of Saint Teresa of the Child Jesus, there were only girls in this family. Some boys died as babies, and all the girls, there were 9, all the girls there went to convent, all of them. It has happened. In the Catholic Church, it was not rare. It has happened, this kind of families. Even in our society, we have many families where we have 2, 3 priests and 2, 3 sisters in the same family. I know some families like that in Switzerland. Among the children, 6 have joined religious life. And even and that is a blessing for a family. Because the goal of a family, remember, the goal of marriage is to educate your children, to give them to God, or to make them citizens of heaven, of course, that they can be good Christians and go to heaven, or even to give them directly to God, even through religious life. As no one should be forced, so no one should be prevented from becoming either a priest or a sister if he has a genuine vocation, of course. It is a sin for parents to oppose or prevent their child's religious vocation. It is stealing him from the service of God, who has called him. Our Lord promised, everyone who has left house, or brother, or sister, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold and shall possess life everlasting. It is a great honor for a family to have even one of its members dedicated to the special service of God as a priest, a brother, or a nun. Christian parents should pray that God may give their child a religious vocation. Our Lord said, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother and wife and children and brother and sisters, yet, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Of course, by this hate, does not mean to break God's command of love. It means only to give up for the God's sake. To be is not to hate, of course, is to be able to live, to separate, to leave your parents, to leave your brother, sister, your home country, to give your life to God. It means to detach oneself from what is good in order to be fully attached to the one infinitely perfect good, God. Every one of you who does not renounce all that he possesses cannot be my disciple. God wants everything. And we have to be detached in reality or in spirit. In spirit, maybe you have your family, you have your business, but you are ready to die even. You know, all of us, we have to die one day. You are ready to live, if this is the will of God. You are ready to lose everything. You are ready even to lose your family if God wants. It is the will of God. We are not attached to our own will. Of course we love. Of course we suffer. It's painful to lose our friends, to lose our family, to lose our job, to lose... It's painful, we know. But we are ready. We are ready. But of course, we have to do our duty. If we have a family, we cannot be accepted in religious life. Why? Because we have to take care of our family. This is a duty. We have to take care of them, to pay rent and school fees. We have to work. This is the will of God. And this is the holiness we have chosen to pursue through marriage life. Okay. What is Dowry? Dowry is the sum of money required by some congregations of women, payable upon the profession of a novice as member of the community. You know what is dowry? Because we have the same in Kenya for marriage, and we had the same also for the religious congregations. Not all of them are asking, but some are asking to give a certain amount of money to provide the community to support this person. Actually, even the goal of this dowry is to provide the person with some support should she leave the community at the end of her temporary vows or after a dispensation or upon dismissal. In case one leaves the community, the dowry is returned to her intact. Meanwhile, during her stay in the community, the interest of the dowry is used for her maintenance. Those who cannot give a dowry may be dispensed with the consent of the Holy See at this time. Applicants who have completed their education are more easily dispensed because they can find a job in the world, because they have already some certificates. This is why usually, we really take care of vocations. This is why we usually ask for someone to have already gone through university, got some certificates or diploma before to join. Because like that, if they have to leave, they can get a job because they are ready for it. Okay, let us stop this catechism here. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.